Oilers fans, Tony Brar here alongside Kate Pedersen. And Kate, I must say I'm a little excited for this interview as we're pleased to be joined by two very special guests, Edmonton Oilers head equipment manager Jeff Lang and assistant equipment manager Brad Harrison. Gentlemen, thanks for taking some time and joining us. And how you guys doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Yeah, doing really good. Just kind of hanging out, and that's about it. So
That's what we like to hear.
Well, we're all kind of hanging out. I feel like that's sort of the trend right now. What have you guys been doing to fill your quarantine isolation time?
go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, you know what? Just a lot of family time. Just what the honey-do list is getting knocked off here at the house, and just spending lost time with the family is is what we've been doing. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet.
Kind of the same as Jeff. Like, this is kind of our summertime right now, so we get to see the kids a lot more, go on more bike rides now and everything. We actually ended up getting a dog, so it was
No
good.
way.
So we've been plugging away with that. It's fun. So now we have to
Finally got a dog?
Yeah, we got a dog.
What kind of dog, Harry?
We got an Aussie Doodle. His
No
name's,
way.
Yeah, his name's Diggsy. It was from Ryder's.
Okay.
My youngest son, Ryder, his favorite football team was the Vikings. But then that Stefan Diggs got traded to Buffalo, so we had to keep the name. So
You got to keep the name. You can't change it now. That's awesome. Well,
Well, yeah, it's good.
It sounds like things are going well for you guys, but let's have a little bit of fun off the bat, because this is usually a question that we save for last, but let's have some fun. If we were back in March and started quarantine all over again, and you were forced to quarantine with one current Edmonton Oiler player, who would it be and why? Langer, we'll start with you.
You know what? That's a tough one. I think off the top of my head, I would probably say Nuge.
Oh, really? Why
I
Nuge?
would think Nuge. Yeah. No apparent reason, honestly. I just think that he's very laid back and just kind of whatever happens, and I think he'd be an easy guy to get along with. And yeah, I think Nuge would be the guy.
Harry?
I should have went first, but I'm definitely not taking Clefbaum, that's for sure. I'm not in quarantine with him. I guess I'd have to
elaborate on that.
we'll go with off the record. No, can't do that. I would have to go, I think, with Langer too, would be Nuge, because he's been with us the longest. We've known him the longest. He's a great gentleman and a great family man as well. So he's a lot of fun as well off the ice too, and away from the rink as well. So I'd have to go with Nuge too, the same as Langer.
Well, you guys have taken different paths to get here, but look way back when you were a kid. What did you want to be? Was hockey part of what you wanted to be?
I guess I wanted to be in the NHL. I knew I wanted to be a hockey player, and then I found out I was no good at hockey. Then I decided I wanted to still be in hockey, and the only thing I ever wanted to do was be in the NHL, and that's when I kind of went into more of the equipment side and the medical side. Went a couple years for medical, and then just changed over to the smart side, the equipment side. A lot more fun on our side.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm exactly the same way. I think what you guys will notice as we talk here, me and Harry get along, I think, very well, and a lot of it are similarities. Mine is the exact same as Harry. I wanted to play hockey, be in the NHL, and it was funny, back when I was a little kid, my favorite team used to be the Oilers because of Wayne Gretzky. So, like Harry, wasn't a very good hockey player, but wanted to be in the NHL, but was trying to figure out how I could somehow get into it. So, went into athletic therapy at Mount Royal College. Actually, coincidentally, me and Harry graduated from the same school, the same
No way.
year. We're in the same class and didn't know each other.
Wow.
So
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah, so like Harry, went into the medical side and then realized those guys are a bunch of nerds. So went to the equipment side. It was way better.
Well, I was going to ask you guys to elaborate on your path to the NHL, because, Jeff, we know you're a certified athletic therapist. And Brad, you also spent some time over in Europe.
No. You're gonna get
Yeah.
TD mad at me.
Yeah, and Happy's mad. You got to watch that language, Tony.
We're not certified. We just got diplomas. I
Whoa.
shouldn't say just. They were hard.
Yeah, they were diplomas, right, for athletic therapy.
Hard 7 years for me and Harry to get that 2-year diploma, so it was pretty good.
The Van Wilders of athletic training.
Yeah. No, so it's just we just diplomas. Didn't go any. I don't know what Harry did, but that's all I got. Got the diploma, started working in it, and then decided to run and get into the equipment.
Yeah,
but Harry, go ahead.
Exact same with me. Sorry to interrupt, Tony. I went to school, and right after that, I did my internship with the Calgary Hitmen. The first year they were there, and then I got a job doing medical and equipment in Kindersley in the SJHL. Then I went to Labret Eagles also. Then I went to Regina Pats for 1 year, and then I ended up going over to Europe for 7 years, and then went to Toronto for 4 with the Marlies, and then ended up coming to Edmonton with Jeff.
Maybe elaborate on your time in Europe and how it was maybe a little bit different in America.
Yeah, it was a lot different. I went over as just a young pup and just a kid, and a lot of players took me under their wings, like Pokey Reddick was there, John Shabbat, Rob Doyle. A lot of those guys were when we first went over, I think it was 18 imports, and it was like just 4 or 5 Germans at all, and then that was it. And then we kind of slowly went down for the imports, but I think I went over there, I was 21, 22, and we ended up actually winning a championship in 2004 1 year. We had a really good team that year, and I just kept doing that. And then I wanted to get back. I got married, had 1 kid at the time, and then I wanted to get back to Canada. But it was awesome. It was a great experience. It's called Cabina Fest. So like every Tuesday you'd have a practice in the morning and then a practice at night, because that's how a lot of the German coaches like to run it. But Cabina is dressing room, so after their last practice, there'd just be a big party every Tuesday pretty much. So we didn't play till Friday. So that was good. And usually played Friday, Sunday, had Monday off, sometimes Tuesday games, but it was good. I enjoyed it a lot.
That sounds like quite the experience. And both of you guys had quite the experience getting to the NHL, but maybe let us into your guys' personal lives a little bit in terms of, do you guys have a favorite piece of memorabilia that's around your guys' house and you guys will cherish for the rest of your lives? Jeff, maybe we'll start with you.
You know what? The 06 Cup run was probably, obviously, one of the highlights of my career, but winning the Campbell Conference trophy in Anaheim, we got little miniature trophies from the league. So I would say that would be one of my most cherishable moments. There's lots of them, but I would think that would probably be one of my biggest.
I think for me would be when we won in 2004. Won the championship over in Germany in the DL. We had a great team over there, and it was kind of small world. One of our goalies was my best friend, Ian Gordon, growing up, and he ended up being on our team. So since we knew each other since we were about 4 years old, it was pretty cool to have that experience and win with him, and also win as well.
Well, I'm sure anyone watching can already see that you guys are a well-oiled machine. There's a good dynamic between the two of you, and you've both been with the Oilers for quite some time. But I think it's also unique when you talk about your similar career paths that you both worked with Team Canada. So Brad, tell us, you spend every day with the Oilers. You have a routine, you have a system that you do there. How hard is it to adjust to go into a tournament with Team Canada, players you don't know that well, somewhere in a city that you don't know well either? How does that work?
Well, when I first started with Jeff, actually, Jeff and I, my first tournament with Team Canada was with Jeff. And we went over to, I think it was Hanover, and he was the guy running the show in Calgary. So he came over, and a guy just asked if I could help out, and I got kind of thrown at Jeff, and that was about it. He brought everything over for the first time, and then doing Worlds and stuff like that. It's a great event, and we did Sweden games together, Jeff and I, to take care of those guys. They're all good guys because they all want to show up. They're all there to have fun also and win as well. But they're all every hockey player is an easygoing guy, and it was a lot of fun to work there.
Jeff, we know you've also had plenty of experience on the world level as well, including the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City. You guys win gold, but let's go to the start. How did you become a part of that staff?
How did you hear this story?
I
Andre,
heard.
are you listening? But yeah, you know what? How did that work now? We were, I was working for Hockey Canada in Calgary. They had I don't know if you remember, they had like a summer camp. They brought in 40 of the top NHL guys. They had them had them in Calgary at Father David Bauer. Well, probably a point to mention is at the time the trainers were Barry Stafford, Kenny Lowe, massage therapist Stu Poirier, on top of Jim Ramsey and Pierre Gervais. So that was the group. So there was an Edmonton Oiler connection there. So because we're working with Hockey Canada, these guys were all in the NHL. They needed someone kind of like a liaison or someone to help set it all up. So that was kind of my main job for that camp. And then once I got the camp up and running, I got to know the training staff, got to know Kevin Lowe at the time, and then obviously Wayne Gretzky, and then all the coaching staff, Pat Quinn and Ken Hitchcock and those guys. So after the Olympics, that camp, they went back to the regular season, and then I think the Olympics started in February. So during the season, as they started to name the players that were going to be a part of the team, they needed someone to help organize and getting all the equipment set up. So we were getting everything sent to Calgary, and my thought was, if I'm getting to, like, they're going to have to get this stuff down there somehow. We either ship it by courier truck, or someone's going to have to drive it. So my whole thought that whole time was like, if I get an opportunity to drive the equipment down there, like, I'm not leaving. I'm going to find something that they're going to make, have to make me do, right? So the season went on. I ended up being told I was going to drive it down. Bob Nicholson obviously was the president at the time. So I got offered to drive the equipment down, but the idea was, I'm driving it down before the Olympics, I'm dropping it off, and I'm coming back. Well, I got down there, and they had nobody to offload the truck. They had nobody to set up the room because all the other players were still in the NHL, and so was the training staff. So I got there, and then it was the opening night for the Olympics. And I was still there. Now I'm probably at least a week there. Opening night at the Olympics, I get a call from Bob Nicholson saying, hey, I need you to set up a dinner. Oh, actually, sorry, it was Brad Pascal. I need you to set up a dinner, all the executive and all the coaching staff. And I go, okay, no problem. Well, we're in Salt Lake City. I don't know anybody. I don't know. I know McDonald's. I know White Castle. I know those. They want a high-end restaurant. So I end up phoning around to get a place. We all go in. We're having dinner, big, huge, round table. And as I'm sitting there having dinner with all these executives, all the coaching staff, and me, I get a call. I get a word from Bob Nicholson to, like, come here. And he's sitting with Wayne Gretzky. And I'm, okay, like, what are they going to have me go do? I got to go run and go get something or do something, right? So I go over to the kneel down between the two guys, and Bob goes, Langer, I think I just found out what you're going to do for the Olympics. I didn't have accreditations. I had nothing, right? I just basically my bag and a truck. And I go, okay, what am I doing? He goes, you're going to drive Wayne Gretzky around the Olympics. And as anybody at the time, like, Wayne Gretzky was, a god and was one of my favorite all-time players. And you know what? I couldn't believe this is a dream job. I couldn't believe it. So yeah,
that's crazy.
So that's how it all got started, honestly. Bob told me I had to drive Wayne around. So Wayne had all these different engagements, things he had to go to. He had to go to press conferences. He had to go do all this because he was the executive staff, right? So yeah, I drove Wayne around for the O2 Olympics until I got my first accreditation. And then once I got the accreditation, then it was, I could drive Wayne to the games. Then I'd go into the locker room or try to help out as much as I could. It was very limited access. I'd go to practices with Wayne, and then once I got him settled, I would go down into the locker room. And so, yeah, but that's how I got started. I got to know the training staff, got to know Kevin Lowe. Yeah, and then the rest is kind of history, I guess you can say.
That's amazing. I actually didn't know the story, but I was told to ask you about it. So
Oh yeah, that's Andre
how,
for sure. That's Andre for sure.
But when you think back to the 2002 Olympics and the tournament itself, what's the first moment that pops to your mind?
I honestly remember the game against Germany as being like I thought the turning point in the tournament for us. The good thing for me is that I would drive Wayne around and the other executives, so I would hear their comments on the inside on how they thought the team was playing, right? So I thought it was really good. Like it was, I think that game against Germany was probably one of the bigger games. And then once we got that turned around, it was good, really good.
Shifting back to the Oilers, Brad, what is a typical day in the life of the equipment team?
We all get there at all different times of the hour. It depends when Jeff gets there. He's usually the first one there, and then I get in, and then Shane and our other guy always comes in. He takes care of the visiting team, but we get in there, kind of set up the jersey, set up the socks. Jeff sharpens the skates. We get all the laundry put out, usually the day before the night or the in the morning, stuff like that. Get the lines from tip, and just go through that way. And then when the players get there, it's kind of like at their beck and call. We kind of babysit them, and they need something done, they need something fixed, or we take care of them, and that's what we do. And then practice is on, and then I guess practice over, we clean everything up again, and it's a game night. Then we start getting ready for the game, put the socks out, the jerseys, a couple more skates to be sharpened, and then we kind of have a little bit of a downtime there, run home sometimes, stay at the rink most of the time, and then we get ready for the game, and then that's it. And do it all over the next day.
Well, and wonder, what happens on the road? Langer, you told me a little bit about this on the road, but your days are crazy because as soon as the game ends, you're packing up and throwing everything on the plane and moving to the next city. What's that like? What goes into getting the team from one place to the next in a crazy timeline?
Well, the biggest thing is having a guy like Harry there too, that it's the help, because obviously there's a game going on. And what people don't see behind the scenes is usually after the second period and we're going into the third period, Harry's in the locker room pulling bags, getting the sticks all organized, any trunks that can be closed up and getting put on the truck. He looks after that. He coordinates. We also have some helpers on the visiting side that help us, local guys. But Harry coordinates all that for those guys. So when we get off the ice, we've got minimal stuff left in the locker room to go. We probably have the bags, video, medical, and then probably some strength stuff. And then we're always waiting on the media banner. And there's usually something we got to carry for you guys too. So usually waiting.
Oh, we've been so nice so far, but Tony, that was a direct shot of us.
You know what?
Banner.
I was going to say, Kate, that this is the longest Oilers TV has ever gone without being chirped by Harry or Langer.
Wow.
But
we're doing okay. They're going easy on us in quarantine.
And we'll usually win too.
We haven't had to yell at you to move or get out of the way, or why is your trunk here?
I will say that that's not a joke. There is a lot of yelling about moving, but hey, we do our best. You can't fault us for that.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead.
After the games, it's pretty. You know what? We're pretty fine tuned. Everybody's got a job to do, right? Like mine and Harry's job is to sit around and yell at people to hurry up. That's kind of our job. And then we get on the plane, and it's usually could be anywhere from a 40-minute flight to a 3-hour flight. And then once we hit the ground, it could be 2:30. 3 in the morning, and we're unpacking, getting it all organized because we got to skate the next day, probably a practice or a game, and then we got to get it all up and ready to go. So on the road, they're long days. There's not really a lot of downtime. There is downtime, but you're usually trying to catch up on some sleep and try to get your bearings again. But yeah, that's about it.
When we go to unpack on the road, we always want to when we were a little younger before, maybe 6 years ago when we had it, we'd always try to set records on every rink that we went to unpack. So we had one of the best records was at Joe Louis Arena, and it took us about 20 minutes, and we were busting,
No way.
yelling and screaming at each other, go there, go that. That was a quick time, eh, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. Well, and anybody that's been to the Joe Lou, the old building, it was a long back the truck in, and we all sat in the truck and we looked at it and we said, okay, as soon as he shuts it off, we look at the clock. And then it was go time. And once we got back in the truck, he turned it on, we looked at the clock, and that was the end of it. We had Harry, I think we had all the 23, 24 bags unpacked. We had all the coaches' stuff unpacked and hung. Sevy had all the sticks up on the wall. Medical room was completely done. We all ran back into the truck, boom, 20 minutes. We were out of there. That was awesome.
Hey, whatever keeps you entertained.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. We do a lot of self-entertaining.
So if 20 minutes was the record, what's the baseline? What's the average? So we kind of
4 hours.
No, I guess it all
35,
depends
40.
on, yeah, I guess it all
Okay.
depends on how far we want to get done and what we have going on the next day.
Gotcha.
If it's a later practice, we got time to do things in the morning, and if we land at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning because of delayed somewhere, we would just get the players' bags up in the medical room or the coaches, because if the coaches are coming in the morning, they need to. So yeah, Harry, what do you think?
Yeah.
On average, maybe 45 minutes, 40 minutes.
All depends on the different rinks too. Some are really far away, like you got to push it a long ways, and then some. Yeah, it all depends.
So Harry, what would you guys say in your guys' experience is the quickest turnaround you guys had? Because you guys mentioned delayed flights and early mornings where you had to quickly set something up and then be back at the rink just 2 hours later, maybe get a quick 2-hour nap in.
I'd say on a back-to-back would be probably the worst would be say if we play in Columbus and play in Detroit the next day, and we got 3 extras skating or a goalie also, then they would be coming in. We'd get in maybe done at 3, and then we'd be back up at maybe 8. Training camps are really bad as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are bad. I don't know if you have another idea, Jeff?
Training camp on the road, like when we play, say, Vancouver, because usually they try to get as many games in a row as you can. So there's different players, but it's still the same staff. Like, so you play Saturday night in Vancouver, which is always a 8 o'clock game back at Edmonton. It's a late turnaround. Well, then the next day you're at home to Calgary. Well, we're not done. When you're playing back home before 4 or 5 in the morning, well, those next guys are going to skate the next morning at 10:30.
Yeah.
There's a good chance we're all sleeping at the rink and get ready for the practice because we've got to be up at 7 or 8. So you're only getting a few hours sleep and back at it.
You had to think of that one. It was that probably came back from Winnipeg to Saskatoon, and we stayed in Saskatoon that day. That was probably a late one because I think we had Shane drove up 25 players as well.
Yeah.
And the next day was 4, so we had to dry all the equipment, get up for the next team to come in there. So that was a late one. I remember.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, that was a late night. Just thought of that late night.
So what you guys are saying is
listening to it.
yeah, I know, right? I was gonna say you guys probably sleep at the rink a lot then.
You know what? Training camp, I would say yes. We'd probably maybe do it 2 or 3 nights during training camp.
Okay.
And then during the season, you might get a one-off. Like we've had some pretty bad luck coming out of Calgary with plane or weather or something. You think it's only a 45-minute flight, but I think you guys were even on the plane 1 or 2 times there that it got delayed and we're sitting there for 2.5 hours. And so like those kind of things you can't help that. You know what? They're not planned. If we get an opportunity to go home, we're getting home.
As you guys probably noticed, we sleep a lot on the plane.
Yeah. We're assuming that's probably the only downtime you guys have. You guys are the hardest workers in the room by far. But do you guys have a favorite road city or road arena that you guys look forward to going every time?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's hold on.
Oh,
we're gonna say, Harry, you say it at the exact same time, and I'll go 3, 2, 1, and you say it, and I'll say it. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Nashville.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
That was my guess.
Yeah.
Now, is it Nashville, the city, or Nashville, like Bridgestone Arena?
The city.
Oh, yeah.
The arena, the locker room setup honestly is awesome. It's perfect. It's really good. It's a good setup there for us too. But yeah,
Rink setup? Ooh, they're all really good. Like,
well, I think it's up there. I think Nashville is pretty good. Like, obviously the cities, anybody that's been there knows that Nashville's a good town to go take in some country music. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a fantastic city for sure. As somebody who only experienced it just months ago for the first time, so definitely amazing. But you guys talked about rink setups. What's the major difference between Rexall Place and Rogers Place, and just the configuration of everything and how much easier things might be now?
I think for us, that the best one is that practice rink. Like, if there's a concert on before, we'd have a game at 7:00, we'd be done out of there at 12. And if we had to go somewhere else to fly the next day, well, we'd be up at 4, packing up the equipment, driving all the way out to Leduc, unloading everything at -35 with a backup door that was painful to do, but we did it. But that'd probably be the best for us, is that practice facility is great to have there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the practice rink, but even the load in, load out for us on the equipment side.
Yeah.
Actually be able inside and have a loading dock and not have to worry about pushing things up a ramp or the lift not working on the back of the truck. So now we're hand bombing trunks on and off the truck. And well, obviously Rogers is the best. It's everything about it, I think, is first class.
One other thing is that everything in our dressing room is, like Langer said, top notch. We got everything there that we need. It's great. It's also the dressing room, like, everything's great about it.
What is the craziest request there be from a player or a coach? Something they've asked you for, asked you to do? Outlandish, maybe? Entertaining?
PG, Harry.
I don't know. They're all great. Like, Langer will probably say the same thing. They're all great. They all have their little twerks, or they need something done, or something special to move the blade over this way, or back in the day, the hosel taken off, and I cut my finger right through it trying to do it, and stuff like that. Like, just putting helmets on too. Oh no, you got to move it over here. It's touching my jaw too much, or got to move it over here. Langer knows who that is, but just stuff like that. They're all great guys, but we love doing that, because if we're not doing that, we're doing nothing. So we enjoy it a lot.
I'd have to say probably one of the, I wouldn't say weirdest or toughest. It was just kind of like, really? Was we had a player on our team, really good guy, Radek Dvorak, on our team. Loved to have a can of Coke before the game, but with different medical staff, and didn't the team didn't provide Coke. And then we were in Colorado. Anybody that's been to Colorado knows the name of the building is called the Pepsi Center.
Oh.
But he wanted to have a Coke and had to have a Coke before the game. And he's like, Jeff, I need a Coke. And I'm like, well, how am I going to go get you a Coke in a place called the Pepsi Center? But we ended up figuring it out. It was all good. But that was kind of probably the weirdest one I've ever had.
You know what? I'm not surprised you guys figured it out. Like I said, hardest work is in the room.
We could say, like,
I think we just opened the can of Pepsi and just poured it in the glass and said, here's your Coke.
Like, some players would have 3 right-handed gloves or 3 left-handed gloves and 1 right-handed gloves, and they just switch all that stuff out all the time. Like,
no way.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, he just retired, Harry. Eh?
Yeah, he did.
This is the dirt we need. This is what we came for.
That was Alice Hemsky.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Harry, what was it? He'd only change his top hand glove. Left.
Yeah, I think that's right. So right-handed. He always changes his left-hand gloves.
Really?
Yeah, but he was awesome.
We have all these rights, but we would have never lefts.
That's
the best is when the medical guys would help us unpack. They'd be like, "There's only 3 lefts here and only 1 right." We're like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And they'd be all confused.
That explains the silky mitts by 83. Obviously, a great career with the Oilers. But guys, we're going to jump right into some rapid fire questions. So just to keep things aligned, We'll always have Jeff go first, and then Harry, you can come in right after that. So you guys obviously have the golden ticket to everything behind the scenes. You guys are going to help us out here with a quick rapid fire question. Kate's going to start us off. Go ahead, Kate.
Okay, we're talking about the current team, guys that are in the room this season. Biggest beauty.
Beauty, James Neal.
Mike Smith.
Best ping pong player.
Nuge.
Nuge, Larson, Draisaitl. They demolish everybody in the room.
In that order?
It's awful.
Yeah.
Clefbaum's awful.
Clefbaum's terrible.
Who's the most underrated comedian in the room?
Chris Russell.
Mikko Koskinen.
Nice.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Most stylish player on the team.
I'd say Mike Smith.
James
All right.
Neal.
All right.
Wow. I thought that's where Clefbaum was going to get some brownie points.
He can't dress himself.
Did you see Harry's face there? He was disgusted there.
Dress himself.
All right, this is a moment of truth. Who has the tidiest locker? Who is the tidiest guy?
Now.
I'd say Chase on.
I'd go that or Chris Russell.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, I would agree there too.
Yeah, one of those two for sure.
Veteran guys understand. They understand.
Yeah.
They get it.
Can we just
Right,
elaborate maybe on, we'll go back to past players. Ryan Smith was the best.
Oh, really?
that was awesome.
Hands down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like to
Okay,
the
that's
point where
good to
when
know.
he would take a pair of shorts and a t-shirt off before he got dressed, he would fold it and put it in his stall.
Hands
Like,
down.
it was odd. Like you could open it up at any time and know exactly what's in there because you could see it all. It was awesome.
That's amazing. That's
I hope
amazing.
the next question's coming, and I hope I'm ready for it.
All right. Who thinks they can sing?
Oh, you cut out there, Tone.
Oh, sorry. Who thinks they can sing but can't?
Did you say sing?
Yeah, sing.
Well, I think Cass really likes to sing in the locker room. Like you get the heavy metal going, and he's always belting out the words. But I don't know if we really have anybody a singer, and he's not.
I'm just gonna go. The only guy that really sings is Nursey, and he's bad. So
Who is the best golfer in the room?
I hate to say this, it's killing me, but I think Clefbaum.
Oh,
Dude.
wow.
I'm going Nuge. I will never say about Clefbaum. Nope, Nuge.
All right. Last one for me, guys. Who goes through the most equipment in a season?
I guess it all depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking, you have to go individual pieces.
Okay.
I would say skates would be Chason and Cass. If you were to go sticks, Nuge, Draisaitl, maybe Chase on again maybe. That's
Okay.
for me. I think you know what, and it's not like an obscene amount. It's just I would say more than anybody else. Yeah,
For sure.
I'd go gloves would be Chase on. Helmets would be Nealer for sure. And you gotta
Sounds
go
like-
goal, you gotta go goal equipment, Smitty for sure.
oh yeah, goalie equipment.
Sounds like Chason, though. Chason comes up with skates, sticks, gloves. Sounds like cumulatively he might be taking up the most
Hey.
equipment.
You said it, we didn't.
There's a lot of toss and blame over on Oilers TV, but at least, this was refreshing. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good. Thanks for having us. It was awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Well, maybe we'll get you guys back on because there are a lot of things that we learned, and I think we can continue that further as we go on with the pause. But it was great to see your faces and great to have you. Oilers fans, thanks for tuning in. Brad Harrison, Jeff Lang, stars of our equipment team at Edmonton Oilers.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe, gents.
Thanks.
See you guys.